In a recent interview, Eric Clapton said that he's working on a new album. Now, this is new material, Willie. Eric Clapton, 78 years old. What are your thoughts on Eric Clapton working on a new album of original material?
My first thoughts always when I hear about these guys, these men and women who are still out and performing, my first thought does always go to, wow, that's impressive. You just recently saw Buddy Guy. He's what now, Pete? He's in his 80s,
86.
86, Clapton 78. I'm impressed. So right off the bat, you get points for that. That's pretty cool. Um, as far as the actual excitement, I think we need to talk about the word excitement. Excitement for me is when there's an album where I don't know what's coming. I remember feeling that before the White Stripes released Icky Thump. I remember thinking about that for the second Allman Betts Band album, where like I don't really know what we're gonna get, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be good, and it's gonna be something that I can't think of. In this case, I don't really have excitement for it because I feel more or less like I know what we're going to get. Now, I think what we're going to get is going to be great. It is Eric Clapton. It's always good playing. It's always his voice is his aged. He has a harder time with some of the high notes, but his voice is aged pretty well. He does a spectacular job. So I'm looking forward to listening to it. But I can't really say I'm excited about it. And the reason why is only because I think I know what we're going to get. Pete, am I being a little bit too cynical here? Or do you sort of feel what I'm saying about excitement versus looking forward to something?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Willie. I mean, clearly the last couple of years, Eric Clapton has been in the news. And there's some
Yes.
people out there who, because of stances Eric Clapton has taken, have really like ragged on Clapton and have not really wanted anything to do with Clapton. And some of even his friends have been like, oh, we want nothing to do with you now because of stances that Clapton had made, regarding what was going on with the whole pandemic situation. And so now Clapton, at the age of 78, is going to be putting out new music. Regardless of what your personal opinion is on Eric Clapton, I think that Eric Clapton putting out a new album of original material is a big deal. And
Mhm.
I really think that the genre of blues rock really needs this. And because there are so few figures of Eric Clapton's stature that are left that are making this type of music. Jeff Beck just passed away recently in
Right.
the last couple months. And Eric Clapton's doing a tribute to Jeff Beck in May. There's very few of these artists left that are making this type of music that have that sort of mainstream stature. Now, even Eric Clapton at this point, there's a lot of publications that, quite frankly, since the pandemic thing, aren't even really like paying attention to him
Right.
anymore. So he did this interview that's the Real Music Observers, where he talked about this. And that channel, throughout the pandemic and when Clapton was making these statements, was putting out content about this and talking about this. And so that channel ended up interviewing Eric Clapton. And Eric Clapton's not doing a whole bunch of interviews,
No.
and so I thought that was interesting. So clearly, like, he's paying attention to what's being put out there about him. But as far as, like I said, the genre, I think it's important because there are so few artists out there that can get this sort of attention that Eric Clapton can bring. And so if that helps to get this music out to more people and exposes more people to the genre, and in turn leads them to other artists, I think that's a good thing. The other thing is, Willie, we mentioned the passing of Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
Clapton's 78. He's not getting any younger.
No.
You know, we had done an interview with Joe Bonamassa some months back, and he mentioned, you know, if you have a chance to go see these guys in concert, go see them, because we don't know how long these people are going to be around for.
Right.
You know, and a lot of these legends are as we continue to go through time are passing away. And so once they're gone, they're gone. And it's not like there's this huge group of people to take their place that have a ton of notoriety and actually get a lot of mainstream attention. It's like once they're gone, they're gone. And this genre desperately needs acts like Clapton to continue to put this music out there.
So, right. So I want to touch on what you said. I agree with what you said, that this is a big thing. It is a big thing that is indisputable. I think it cuts both ways. My concern is that the genre, maybe still rock and roll in general, leans a bit too much on some of these, for lack of a better term, I'll call them forefathers, where I'm more enthused, even though he caught a lot of grief for it from some corners. I'm more enthused about a Gary Clark Jr. doing something like going on a country award show. To me, that is more, going back to the word exciting. To me, that is more exciting because he's branching out. I know it's going to be good. And you put Eric Clapton's name on something, you're going to get the quality and you're going to get the attention. But the Jeff Beck concert show here, so excitement being the word. Here's some of the people that'll be at those concerts. Doyle, and this is not an exhaustive list. Doyle Bramall, Gary Clark Jr., yep. Billy Gibbons, John McLaughlin, Robert Randolph, Joss Stone, Susan Tedeschi, and Derek Trucks, Ronnie Wood. That is something, if you have thousands of dollars just sitting around in your pocket and you're over in London, that would be something to get excited for. The album itself, looking forward to. I don't know. I hope the genre can find its way to wean itself off its forefathers.
I get what you're saying, but how many Gary Clark Jr.'s are out there, Willie? That's the problem.
You're right. You're right.
Is there's very few in that next generation,
You're right,
who are really going to be the guys that take all of this over. You look at Bonamassa, for instance, right? He's built it through his own like independent label, but even Joe is not getting mainstream attention. For as big as he is, he's still not getting all this, national attention.
No.
And so even Joe himself, who it's like, well, if you're a guitar player and you like blues rock and stuff, yeah, you know who Joe is. But if you're just random Joe Schmo on the street, a lot of those people still don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
So that's the problem the genre has as a whole, Willie, is this. There's very, very few of these artists. Now, Gary Clark Jr., one thing that he has going for him is he's been able to open up for Clapton, several times. And he's, so he's been able to benefit from some of these artists like that, some of these legacy artists, you could call them. And so the issue is there's not a ton of artists who are in a similar situation to Gary Clark Jr., where they're able to really get that lift from a Clapton or someone like that.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think? Are you looking forward to Eric Clapton's next album? Let us know down in the comments section below.